Hey, Naylor here, and today I'm going to be doing a review and giving you a tutorial for the Motion Hero Pack Number 1 collection of video assets that we can use in Camtasia. It's a really big bundle of these eye-catching and engaging assets that can add a whole new level of visual appeal to your videos. Oh, and I scored a free pack of 6 of these awesome little assets from Jules. Just click the link to download the zip file, unzip it, and then follow along with me in this tutorial as I show you how to modify these. You aren't going to believe how easy this is. Let's get started. The pack's delivered on a nice clean Kajabi site with over 300 of these excellent assets and specific versions that are encoded with the PNG codec, which means basically that they'll work great in Camtasia. They're all organized into categories, so we can pretty quickly drill down into the kinds of things we might be interested in. One thing I really like about the package is that as opposed to having to download them all, gigabytes worth of video files, you can actually peruse through them and preview, decide which ones you want, and then again download the PNG codec version, which will work great in Camtasia. Really simple, really clean. I like it. Let's jump over to Camtasia and I'll give you some top tips and tricks on how to use these in your video projects. Here on the timeline, I just have a piece of media. This happens to be a static image, but it could be a video clip, a screen capture video, pretty much any kind of media that you can put on the timeline. And to import the motion graphic into our project, on the media bin, you can right-click in the gray area, say Import Media, or use Control-I, navigate to where you unzip the files, click and open, or my preferred method is to just drag and drop from the Windows Explorer either onto the canvas or down on top of our media. And let's preview that. So a couple things to notice here. First is that a lot of these have sound effects. If for some reason you don't want the sound effect, just click on the asset, and on the audio tab you can set the gain to 0, or let's zoom in a little bit, drag the slider here down to 0. For the most part, the sound effects actually add quite a bit to the asset, so I'm going to go ahead and undo that. Let's move the playhead in, and of course you can resize and position them on the canvas pretty much anywhere you want. Just like any other asset, play with the other properties like rotation, opacity, and so on. But here's kind of an important concept to understand. First of all, since it's a video clip, it is of a fixed duration. So if I hover over this, we can see that it is 3 seconds and 18 frames. Well, what if you wanted to stay on screen longer before the exit animation happens? Fortunately, Camtasia makes this pretty easy for us. Let me show you the trick. Let's zoom in just a little bit more. I'll put the playhead in here, and I'm going to scrub it through to just before the exit animation happens. Right about there. Then, I'm going to lock the underlying track so I don't screw it up. Hold my Shift key, grab the playhead, and move it out to the duration that I want it to last. Then you can hold the Alt key, grab the end of the split clip, and drag it out to connect to the exit animation. This inserts a still frame that we can basically make last as long as we want. Just make sure you tuck the exit animation back in, and now we've extended it to last as long as we want. What you want to make sure you do, however, is be positioned where it is that you want it to be before you make this cut. Let's take a look at another example. This one is kind of a nice call-out feature. And if we preview it, this nice box with the arrow draws and then fades out. So this is a great looking box and all, but it's blank. It's really kind of screaming for some text. In fact, lots of the assets are rather blank so that we can use them as a background and put text on top. So here I have a text box, and if we put it on top, now we have something that really serves as a nice call out. And on this one I just added a behavior to help animate the text. And now we'll just kind of line it up to come in with the animation and make it last. And don't forget, you're not necessarily stuck with the orientation of the call out, the arrow in this example. Let's click on it, and then let's just rotate it, resize it a bit, and we can orient it a different way. I'll go ahead and undo that for now. And while before we saw that we might want to make some of these last longer, this one is about 12 seconds. Well, if I don't want it to last that long, what I can do, of course, is kind of pull the same trick in reverse. I'll go towards the end here to just before the exit animation happens. And this time I'm just going to highlight and then cut to shorten the length. Adjust your text a little if you need to, but it's really easy to kind of dial it in. Nice. Let's click on our object here and then right click on the canvas. And you can add a couple of visual effects here, but quite frankly the only one that I usually mess with is the drop shadow, because that can add a little bit of pop to the object against your background. Of course, once you've kind of finished with an asset, if it's one that you think you're going to like and want to keep, you can highlight everything, right click, and add to your library. I'm going to create a new one called Motion Hero. And now, anytime I want to use it in a project, I can just go ahead and drag it and drop it. Open up the group, click and modify the text, and I'm all set. Let's play around with a little experiment, shall we? I'm going to click on the box here and go to Behaviors, and I'm just going to add a fade behavior. Now the asset has animation, so on the Behaviors properties here, I don't really want anything to happen when it comes in, so I'll set this to none. And I'm also going to set the out to none. But on the during here, let's go ahead and just kind of set to something maybe like drifting and see what that looks like. So basically we can kind of embellish the animation even more. So as you can see, there are a lot of creative things that we can do with these inside Camtasia. I've really been having a blast with these. You can mix and match them, come up with some really interesting effects. Just go ahead and get creative with them. And with the sheer number, I almost always find something that I can use to embellish a video. Now, of course, like any special effect, you don't want to overuse these, because a special effect used too often ceases to be, well, you know, special. But having something like these in your toolbox is crucial for engagement, standing out from the crowd, and it's really easy and simple way to add some excellent visual impact to your work. I'm highly recommending Motion Hero Pack 1, so click the link, go check them out, see if you can use them. I know you can. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.